young West African migrants, our teenagers especially. Now, we cannot deny the fact that the media is in front of us every day. We are forced to see some things, but again, it's not that it's bad to be shown things, but we are concerned about the negative side of things.
Yes.
And that's what we want to we're trying to discuss. So we want to see and want to investigate how it's affecting our young people. Not only psychologically, mentally, but also academically.
Yes.
You can imagine when something goes wrong in the life of a young person or a teenager, that's going to be for life. We want to see how to avoid some of those things and help our young people to help them to stay focused. And I have in front of me one young man who has managed to stay focused. And so we want to share his story, but also to investigate what goes on in the minds of our young people. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah, that's the right topic for them. This one. I don't
worry. Okay. I don't worry. That's Ada from Awori.
Yeah.
What's the name of this guy again?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Timaya.
Timaya.
I don't know whether he's when he puts it on.
Well, we know how you feel. Because of what we're talking about right now, we know how you feel. I don't worry. Wherever you are, don't worry. You have to make sure that a time comes when you have to keep your pants on.
There's a time for everything. A time to keep it on, a time to take it off.
You don't even meet when you are not married.
If you're still a student, keep your pants on until you finish. You have a job, you have money, then you can do what you want. Anyway, that's just a good advice. All right, we're going to get back to our interview with Mr. Prince Adolfo. Welcome back, Prince.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Now, how does, or shall I say, does ignorance of sexual matters play a significant role in the creation of victims? That is, in people becoming victims, especially from this target group that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, look at ignorance of the young people themselves and also their parents. Does that play any role in people becoming victimized by the media's attention or focus on sexual matters, sexual activities?
Yes, it does. Actually, a little history is here at this place. I think in the 60s, the West had their sexual revolution, while most of our grandmothers, parents had were busy fighting for our independence. So because of that, we are actually living in a time here in the Netherlands where this, as a sex has evolved to a level that our parents, particularly West African parents, cannot handle it. And you can't blame them because, as I said, whilst the 60s, these were all going on here, we were fighting independence, a greater cause, which was more important to us, our own revolution. So because of that, Western Africans may lack to understand some of the complexities that come around with the media projecting sex and all this topic, but you can't blame them because of the past, and everything. And I think so because of that, they are ignorant to a certain extent. Yes. Of course, they cover the basic, and I actually say that they cover the simple stuff, which is actually the most important of the basic stuff. Yeah. But the thing is that most young people are actually exposed to the complexity of the topic without even the coverage of the basics of God. The media hardly talks about the basics. They go about the discovering of new things, like they throw you into the deep.
If I just, what do you mean by the basics and what do you mean by the complexity? If you can just briefly talk about our listeners can understand what you mean.
Okay, let me give you a basic. This was a classic example I saw on TV. A young girl of 16 years old went to the mother because she had a boyfriend, and she asked the mother, the boy wants to have sex with her, and she told the boy she wait, he wants to find out whether she is ready. She went to the mother and said, "Mother, when is it right to have sex with this young man?"
Is this the African person or this
no, it wasn't African person, but I'll come back to why it's relevant to the African youth, because actually there are no difference between those two. The only difference is that the parents and the environment.
Yes.
But among the youth, to us, everything is the same.
Yes.
What they see is what we see. We are all young.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm using this example because it, to clarify something. So the young girl asks the mother, 60 years old, asks the mother, so what must I do? And the mother said, well, actually, all I know is that if you think you feel right, that's the word you use. If you feel right for it, you can do it. And the young girl said, yeah, but what if I do it and I get pregnant? I'm not ready to be a mother, and I don't think I want to spend the rest of my life with this guy. All I know is that for the moment, I like him very much. And the man told her, well, it doesn't matter. If you feel like doing it, just make sure you do it safe. You see, the basic was not covered. The young girl had the idea for, wait a minute, to engage in sex is not just simple feeling right, because she felt it's the right time, but she also knew that, wait, there must be more. It has consequences, and she wanted to make sure that those consequences, she's ready for it. If the mother had not bring this issue of, oh, you can do it with condom so that you can avoid the consequences, she might say, I'm not ready for it. Because there is no condom for the mental aspect of having sex. Neither is there condom for the emotional aspect of having sex. There's only condom for the physical aspect of it. So these are some of the bits that listen. Sex is not just when you feel like it, but it also serves a purpose, and it's also functional. So the moment you are going to engage it, make sure you do somebody that you are willing to spend the rest of your life with. Because let's say you do it and maybe you use a condom which is not 100% proof, and you get pregnant. What are you going to do now? Are you ready to have the baby? She'll probably say, never. I'm never ready to have a baby. It means that the young girl herself will decide that, wait, because I'm not ready to have a baby, I'm not going to engage into this activity. Although I might feel it is right, but when I look beyond the feeling, I find out that I'm not ready for it. So I think that what we're actually using is that the condom is being used to cover up everything. And as I said earlier, there is no condom for the mental aspect, neither the emotional aspect, let alone the spiritual aspect, which we don't want to get into that. But there is no condom for those aspects.
I like what you were saying about the exposure, the basics which you're talking about. Don't you think that the time has come for parents of West African origin and even youth of West African origin to be more open to discuss these things, because it's going to help them? I like the way the standard girl took, by going to ask the mother, and later even if the mother, when the mother said you can go ahead as long as you protect yourself, she still wasn't confident. Comfortable with that. That was good. There was something in her maybe trying to hold it back, but that kind of discussion ought to be open between mother and child, father and child.
In the African context.
In the African community, we don't have that. What do you have to say about that?
All I have to say, as I said, because of the sexual revolution, the West are far ahead in openness towards this topic. And African parents, we are now coming up. It's like a new thing for us, because the exposure is like all of a sudden boom in your face. So because of that, all I have to say is that the media or the prominent people in the society can create a platform whereby they can train up our parents for all this stuff, because you are right, it is here, and the way we are seeing it is not going to go away. So the best way is to be educated about it. But I think that most parents need help, because they themselves, this is all, it's like overwhelming, too overwhelming.
The truth. Look, we had arranged for people to do this show. Some said they couldn't come to the studio. We said, okay, let's do it. We'll record it and then, play it on air. Every one of them we made a point where they all just fizzled out. They disappeared. We were so shocked and embarrassed. We said, but what's going on here? What's so scary about this subject? So there is a problem. There is a taboo. It's a concept people have about this topic that is so, is so eerie out there, and they just don't want to touch it. But it's a fact of life. It's good. You're going to confront it at some point.
Exactly. That's
so it is really a problem in our society, in our community.
Yes,
the West African community, especially.
Yes, it is.
Now, so going on from there, I would like to ask you the question: how do you think our West African youth differ or contrast with let's say the Dutch counterparts? I'm sure you were in school with other native Dutch boys or girls. How do you see yourself when it comes to sexual matters?
Actually, in my time, I've said at my age group, we were also a little bit conservative, because most of us were born in Africa and we were brought here at the age of 12. So because of that, we were still a little bit conservative. I remember, anytime like we're doing something evil, or like just say boys we get around and we're watching a naked woman, and we always did it in secret.
Yeah.
Because this thing is wrong, but we are doing it anyway. Boys be boys.
Yeah.
But the moment you get into the white society, they just do it in public.
In public.
And like this thing you are supposed to do it. They say no. I mean, it's public. Actually, sometimes even my parents buy for me just to make sure that they control my sexual habit. You see, so because of that, all I can say is that they were raised in an environment where, as I said earlier, the sexual revelation plays a big part. We have never had it before. So all we know about it is that sex is something that is reserved for the married, which is true and which is the right thing. But we consider it to be so simple. That it's like it's boring. If it's only for marriage, then it means that we can't talk about it, we can't do anything about it. We can do something about it, but not the act. But there's a lot of things you can do, which is also exciting. The knowledge, but because the knowledge is not being shared, what happens is that we get into the act. And among the white themselves, among the Western, the knowledge is shared. And they are actually prompt or motivated to practice it. I said it because if you look at all these youth movies that are come out, the whole sense of the movie is to get young people to have sex. Because I remember one of the movies we used to watch in our time was American Pie. And the whole sense of the movie is that the excitement of losing your virginity, virginity. That's what we're driving to. And as West African, we were watching it, and with our white friends, and we were like, wow, these people are really advanced. This is how it's supposed to be. So before we even forget the little lessons we learned from these people are archaic. So because of that, it's like we go about more with the Western youth and their ways of doing it. That's why the difference is very little.
That's true.
The only thing is that we don't have an environment whereby we can profit from the knowledge whilst they have certain knowledge about issues and what they are doing. We are just copycat. That's what we are doing.
Wow.
Now, with among our Western counterparts, the information is out there. It's not. You don't handle it secretly. I mean, the parents and kids talk about it openly. It is not the case with us. Now, so if you look at the consequences of somebody who doesn't know about it but jumps into it secretly, can you say? Well, you can tell us whether like those who are. I'm just missing my point here. Now, I'm talking about the consequence, like those who from our background and those from a white background. Do you have things like dropouts, pregnancy, unexpected, unwanted pregnancy?
No,
you have this is coming up among the white comparing the white counterparts to our West African counterparts. Now, because on one side there's knowledge, but the other side there's not ignorance.
There's ignorance. It's true.
But everybody has feelings and has sexual feelings and what have you. So can we just contrast these two areas for us?
Yes, I think most of the consequences that if, for example, the West with the knowledge that they have, and because their actions have already been justified before they are going to. For example, as I said earlier, a parent, a Western parent would tell a child, right, it's okay, go ahead and have the sex, and the child will do it. And if she comes home, he or she is proud because I did what Mama told me to do. But a West African youth, they never receive that message to go out and go have sex. So when he goes and does it, he comes back with guilt, and the guilt is eating him up from the inside. And the guilt will have effect on him as a person and on his relationship with the parents. Because he looks at his parents and they feel like a little bit ashamed, like I'll never live up to their standard because they are still thinking I'm a virgin whilst I've lost it a long time ago. So we end up with guilt while the West, the children go home with a certain pride. Maybe they'll even receive an award for losing their virginity. They'll mark that day in their agenda as something great and celebrated. I don't know if it goes that far. But among the West Africans, you come back with guilt, you come back with shame. I'm not like to have witnessed a young man called me. He was just like me, a youth leader, and he called me on there. I think it was on a Sunday afternoon that I should come. When I came back, he was lying in bed crying. This was a grown man, I think about the age of 21. I asked him what happened. He said yesterday he was involved in some sexual activity with a woman, and he's supposed to have shamed of himself. Really, he came back because he can't talk to his parents about because it wasn't what his parents expected of him, and it feels like I have failed them, and it was actually guilt, disgrace. But if you go to a Western home, such a young man will be hailed. Hail the boy, he has lost his virginity, hail the boy. But here he was. So the consequences are huge for the African youth because it's guilt condemnation, and it affects their whole self-confidence.
So it's what they are receiving from the parents, because the parents are not open to discussing this kind of topics. And by discussing it, we're not saying that people should go practice it.
Yeah.
But it is just to create awareness, that people know what it entails and the positive and the negative aspects of this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You know, just like I say, if like it's not being spoken about,
Yes,
that is when all these things happen. Because you know, like the way I put it for the African parent can also not be totally blamed, because they have not gone through any sexual revolution. All they, you know, to them, all these things are just it's just too much for them. They just ignore. So that's why I said that they need a platform. Someone has created a platform to help them out. They can't do it alone. That's why I would not like. They can't do it alone, because it's just too much. As a matter of fact, the way sex is evolving since the 60s is just too quick. Even for a lot of people, it's just too quick. And, yeah, so they need a platform where, as community, we have to do it together.
Yes.
You can't say one individual. It's just not possible. You may decide, but it's just too difficult for a parent to sit the child down and talk all this thing. While she herself, and knowledge is only limited to marriage, because you see that most in our community, people love to talk about marriage, because that is what they were, you know, taught with or raised up with. So anytime they talk about marriage, then is where the issue of sex come inside. But since you don't want to talk to a child of 16-year-old about marriage, because you want you to focus on the school, the issue of sex doesn't come up
at all. Now, you as a young man, you've grown up here, and this will be your closing remarks, because I think you have an appointment coming up. What do you think we should change, you know, regarding how to take things forward from here? Within our community.
Within our community, I think what we have to change is actually, I would say that we have to learn to keep what was given unto us. And I say this because I say that sex on itself is a very simple act, and the consequence can be huge, but you can also, with education, you can cover it up. And I say this because most parents I believe that most African parents have the truth about sex. That the media doesn't have the truth about sex. All they have is the spectacle, the entertainment part about it. But parents have the truth about sex. But the only thing is that the ones that are carrying the truth are not being heard. And it's partly because they are not speaking. So what we can change is create a platform whereby those who know the truth can bring it out. Instead of those who are in for the show, like all these celebrities. Before you know, they marry, 7 weeks later they are divorced. I mean, I want to hear someone talking about sex who's married for 20 years. That is an achievement. But all these people talking about sex, what have they achieved? Nothing. All they have. I was once speaking to a girl, just my closing remark. She had 9 boyfriends. And
she has or has had?
Or has had, 9 boyfriends. We were then at the age of 20. So I asked her, how do you do all this thing? Say, yeah, it's part of my growing up. And actually, I told her, and she asked me, how much have you had? And I said, none. She said, well, I pity you because you are going to struggle in life. I was like, me struggling in life, you are going to struggle in life. What I have is far better than what you have. But the point is that the way they bring it forth, the lies is so convincing, and the truth is laid back. So I would say, if there's anything that has to change, we should create a platform whereby those who know the truth can speak the truth, and those who know lies, let's just shut them out.
Wow. Thank you. Prince, hey, you made my day. I've enjoyed it very much.
I want to make a little announcement.
Oh, yes, a little announcement. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've enjoyed this discussion. You missed great moments to throw in some questions. Maybe you were too caught up with the discussion. That's all right. But give us a call or send us an email. Let us know what you think about this show. Now, Prince has a short announcement to make for us. Go ahead, Prince.
I'm a board member of the Ghanaian University Student Association in Holland. And on the 26th of November, which is Saturday, we'll be having an inauguration.
Hello, sir. Hello, madam. Who's calling? Good morning, sir. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so what's your question, Sally? What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, it was. I think maybe we went to for discussions.
Yeah.
We went to Bible class.
Mm-hmm.
No, but then my question behind is why should a mother give them condoms?
Okay, I understand the question because I've also been in that same situation like your daughter.
Sure.
I was also given a condom, as I said earlier, at the age of 60, 70 to go and use it. The reason why they do is that they actually think that they are helping us. I say they want us to discover our sexuality. Yeah. And they assume actually that your daughter at the age of 16 is ready for it. Whilst you as a parent who have studied your own daughter know better. But as I said, your voice is not being heard. This is the voice of an expert who is so-called an expert on the issue, talking and making decisions for you. Because I believe that as a parent, you should be informed before they give even your child a condom at the age of 60 because it's underage and it's under your responsibility. If something goes wrong, they are not going to arrest that expert who gave the condom. It's the parents that are going to be blamed. So I think what we have to do, as I say, we should create a platform and make this thing known to the schools that listen, we are responsible for our children. If you are going to make such a big decision for my child, you should get me involved. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Hey, sir, I'm sure your question has been answered.
Thank you. Anyway.
All right. God bless you, sir. Please go ahead and make your answer.
Yeah, then as I said, I'm part of the Ghanaian University Student Association in Holland, and on the 26th of November we will be having our formal inauguration, and it will be at the CEC building opposite the Candlelight, and it will start at 5 o'clock. And I just want to invite all the listeners to come because there are going to be directors of Basel School, primary schools and secondary school teachers and other people who are involved in education. What they're actually going to talk about is about the educational system here in Holland. So the primary school teacher is going to talk about how come they put certain children at FMBO and certain children go half for. In our community, there's a lot of complaint that they are discriminating. But as I say, if you don't have the knowledge of it, you may think it's discriminating, while it's actually very systematic. So they are going to explain that, listen, if your child does this and this and this, then your child may get, but if your child doesn't do this and this and this, one example I give is reading. If they may never see your child with a storybook, they may think, oh, this child doesn't like reading, so he has no business going to Behaviour and half because there it's a lot reading. So these are the small things they look at, and I think that if parents come, it will, because at the end of the day, they might, the biggest investment parents have is in the education of their children. So it will be sad if you don't come for such an important event. So we want to call upon everyone to come. It's very important.
Thank you so very much. So, listeners, this is coming up on Saturday the 26th of November at the CC building here in Council Home. So, please make a date, 5 o'clock, Saturday the 26th, for this important launch. Thank God our students are coming together to create a platform, to help us, to guide also other younger ones in the right direction. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.